Finally, we are now able to devise our ultimate solution to the student management system problem, where we want to have a single collection of students, for example, array of students, and then the students dynamically can either be a resident students applying premium rates or a non-resident students applying the discount rate. Though this can all happen given what we have learned so far. We're going to see that. So notice that this part of the video we divide into two parts. One is we talk about routine call parameters from the supplier's point of view, and the other part we talk about routine call arguments from the client's point of view when they pass the argument value when they make a call. Okay, let's start with the supplier side. Let's say we declare the student management system class, and we declare only a single array SS for students. And there's going to be an array of students. So now I want to illustrate something very quickly to you that's very important. Okay, so now don't worry about other parts of the declaration for the class. We'll get there later. But now only focus on this particular line of declaration, just this part here. So we're declaring SS statically of this particular type. Okay, that's quite obvious. And now what's the consequence of this? Assuming that the indices start with 1. So that means SS at position 1 and also SS at position 2 all the way to the last one, to SS at position SS.count. So all these individual members over there have static type. What? Students. This is very important for you to see, because later on, in order for you to judge, whenever you want to substitute a member in the array by something else, how do you judge whether that should be valid, meaning that whether that should compile or not? In that case, you have to go with this particular observation, because every member statically is simply just of type students. In that case, you have to judge the substitution accordingly. Let's just see one example over here. Let's say we now declare some command over here. Let's say add s, add students, and then the parameter over here is simply s statically of type students. And then we are trying to do this particular assignment over here. So now, is this substitution valid or not? Okay, think about the answer before you hear my answer. Okay, so now how do we judge? Since we're doing the assignment over here, so now number one, what's the static type over here? The static type of s is simply declared as the parameter over here. So that would be simply just students. And also, what is the static type over here for SS0? Well, that's something we just talked about. Every member, well, of course, I'm just assuming that the indices start with 0, but you can also think about it start with 1, unless otherwise told. Okay, SS0 over here, assuming that it's actually okay. Well, even though I say it's starting with 1, but I'm just being a little bit inconsistent here. But you can think about either all the indices start with 0 or all the indices start with 1, either way. Okay. So now for SS0 over here, we're going to see what's the static type. Well, it will simply just be students, right? And over here, the static type is also students. So now the question is, can students over here fulfill the expectation for students? Yes, it can. In that case, so this will compile. So that will be yes. Okay. And now it would be an exercise for you to think about, what about if I want to say add rs? In this case, the static type of the right hand side over here will be rs rather than s. So now, and the left hand side is still the first item in the list. In that case, should this compile? Think about it, and also similarly for NRS. Okay, so that will be the option. That will be some required exercises for you to think about whether they should compile. So that'll be the first point I would like to make, and then let's go on with the slides. So we got these three commands. You can see the static type for each parameter is different. We got students, we got resident students, we also got non-resident students. Okay, they are there just for illustration purpose. In practice, you may just need one of them. Maybe you want to make the parameter type as general as possible, right? Because if you actually put resident student here, as we'll illustrate, so that means you cannot actually add a non-resident students by calling this particular command, for example. Okay, we'll see. Okay, so that's why it's valid. And then we want to now talk about how you can pass the objects into pass values into each of the commands, and we want to talk about it, right? So now let me just read a little bit of the slides, and I'll illustrate to you. So we have a student management system objects SMS. Let's say we declare that and also initialize it appropriately. And we learned about call by value from your previous OOP course. Okay, just let's review what it really means. So let's say if you say sms.addRs, so what we're doing is we're calling this particular command over here. So what does call by value really mean? So that means inside the context of this particular command, we're only going to refer to rs, right? In that case, how do we pass the O over here, the arguments, the O here, into rs? The way we do it is by simply assigning O into rs. Or in other words, we are copying the address of O into rs. So call by value simply means we are trying to copy the value of the address of the argument O over here into rs, the parameter, so that when we actually try to manipulate over here, rs will be really pointing to the same objects as O is pointing to. So it's a very quick recap of call by value. Okay, let me illustrate very quickly. So these are the three questions you are being posed with. Let me talk about one of them. You can do the other two in a similar way. Let's say whenever you're trying to call this particular command with argument value O, so how can we judge whether this should compile or not? Let's see. So now let's say this one here, think about what's the context. We are really calling addS over here. So addS is basically over here, right? So let me just write it down exactly. So addS is basically S parameter of type students. And then the do and end, the contents over here, of course, will be omitted, but somehow you're going to manipulate the argument value or parameter value S over here. Okay, so think about what's going to happen by call by value. This is so-called arguments, and this is so-called the parameter, if you want to be more formal. So now when we are doing this, how can we be sure? Can think about O is really pointing to some objects over here, right? And now, though, in order for us to really use the S to really manipulate whatever that O is pointing to as an argument, right? So what we will do is we're going to say S is simply assigned to O. So this is some implicit assignment that call by value will perform in order for you to execute the routine or the query. So now in this case, so once this is done, S is also going to point to the same object. So that's what call by value is going to achieve. But now the question really is, should this assignment be allowed? So that's the very critical question. But in order to answer this, we know all the substitution rules already, either safe or unsafe, that we talked about previously. So that should not be a challenge to you. So the only thing you want to really make sure you understand is the indirection over here. Whenever you're calling a routine over here with an argument value O, in that case, what you're really doing is you have to think about what the parameter is and what its type is. And now, for this particular implicit assignment that to achieve call by value should not be allowed according to our substitution rule. So that's the example you want to, that's the principle you actually want to bear in mind. Okay, so that's about this, and you can think about these two as well. Okay, before you go on to the watch the example that we're going to illustrate. So now let me move on to the example over here. Okay, I'm going to do again maybe just one or two example with you, and then you can do the rest. So let's say this is our setup. So we got S1, S2, S3 with some static type. We got RS. We also got NRS of different static types. We also got SMS. So now let's say we initialize the student management system, and also dynamically we also got S1, S2, S3, RS, and NRS, right? We got all of them. Okay. So now let's talk about only compilation. You can see since we only talk about compilation, dynamic types over here does not really matter. So that the dynamic type over here, you can see students, resident students, non-resident students, resident student, non-resident student. They are now really relevant. Okay, so let me just put it here. Not relevant to judge compilation. They're simply, so we're not even going to consider them. So now, how can we judge two? Let me just do two examples with you. What about the first one? When I try to make a call over here, sms.addS, rs. So is it going to compile? So now, since we talk about this particular command, add rs, and rs, oh, sorry, that's not the one. Add s over here. And then the parameter s static type is simply just students. And then when you're trying to do call by value, you're basically saying, so call by value really means implicitly you're going to get the parameter s is assigned to the argument value rs over here. So now, should this be allowed? So basically, that's what you have to judge. So now, should this be allowed? Well, look at the static type. What's the static type for rs? Is defined over here, resident students. And what is the static type for s? It is the parameter, which is students. The static type is students. So now, well, according to the substitution rule, rs can fulfill the expectation of student. It's simply a descendant class of that. So in that case, it will be okay. So that's why this will be okay. It's a check. Okay, let's do another one here. What about we do this one here? Let me use orange. What about we want to do this? So we're calling a different command. Let's say we're calling add rs. We're calling add rs over here. You can see the parameter type is now different. It's of type resident students. But as far as the call by value is concerned, we're doing something very consistent. We're simply saying the parameter value over here, rs, is assigned to the argument s1. Okay, that's what we're doing. So now, should this assignment be allowed? Let's do a similar reasoning over here. So what's the static type for s1? The static type for s1, according to here, is students. Okay, and what's the static type for rs? It's simply the parameter type that's declared over here. So that one is resident students. So now, can students fulfill the expectation for rs? Apparently not. Okay, so now we're going to say no. It is not a descendants class of, so students is not a descendant class of rs, so it's not going to compile. Okay, so now this is not going to compile, so that's not good. All right, so if you go back to the slides, you will see the various call I'm trying to illustrate over there. So I'm just doing two, one valid, the other one is invalid together with you. So you should be able to do the rest. So let me now just go back to the slides and tell you what you should do. Okay, so that's about the rule I talk about. So you want to make sure you understand this. And I think the critical thing to really understand the assignments over here is about the call by value. Okay, just review that. And then we got the example over here. I just did two of them together with you. You can do the rest. Okay. So these are just the various ones. I already also gave you the answer whether they should compile or not. Think about for every one of them why it should compile, for example, and why this shouldn't compile. We did these two already, so you can do the rest. Okay. So that's about the end of this lecture here. Just about when you have polymorphic call parameters and arguments, how can you judge whether things should compile? In the next video, we'll see what the consequence is for having polymorphic parameter or argument values.